If you think sharks are the scariest things in the ocean, think again. Before your next swim, you might want to know what else is lurking below. Here are the 15 most dangerous crustaceans, including cannibalistic crabs and superpowered ultraviolet shrimp. Number 14. Crayfish. Crayfish, crawfish, crawdads, mudbugs, yabbies, crawdaddies. Known by many different names, these clawed crustaceans may seem kind of tame, delicious, and certainly not something to have you waking up in a cold sweat in the night. Well, unless you're unlucky enough to eat a bad one, of course. In fact, many of them aren't such bad news. But did you ever see a cheesy science fiction movie about an invasion of mutant creatures with 10 legs, the ability to clone themselves, and the hell-bent desire to take over the whole world? Well, no need to be alarmed, but there is a species of crayfish that has been doing just that. Created by accident in an aquarium in 1995, the marbled crayfish has been spreading itself around the globe ever since, causing a terrifying existential threat to native species of crayfish and devastating ecosystems in its wake. In just 2 short decades, the marbled crayfish spread across the continents of Europe and Africa. Its monstrous ability to reproduce itself from its all-female population by cloning itself over and over again is what makes this particular sort of crayfish unstoppable. This really is the stuff of horror movies. Try not to have nightmares. Number 13. Remipede. Like a swimming centipede, the remipede is a small, completely blind cave dweller. But don't be fooled. This dinky little creature can still protect itself. Spelienctus telumensis, found mainly in the darkness of underwater caves in Central America and Mexico, has a particularly grim technique of capturing and feeding on its prey. You may want to put down your snacks. This is stomach churning. This unassuming little swimmer uses its fangs to inject its lunch with a lethal combination of enzymes and neurotoxins that first paralyze, and then turn the contents of the unfortunate prey into an easily digestible sludge, which the remipede then slurps out and discards the remaining shell or leftover fish bits. Told you it was disgusting. The gross-out nature of this aside though, you have to hand it to the wriggly little crustacean venom to paralyze its prey as a good adaptation to ensure it can actually capture a meal, despite not being able to see, and having little physical strength otherwise. Ruthlessly efficient. Don't be too alarmed though. These creatures are pretty unusual, and scientists who want to study them have to take some risky diving expeditions into deep water caves in order to even see one. So you won't spot them sipping a shrimp milkshake down at your local swimming hole. Number 12. Emerald crab. Next up in the catalog of killer crabs, we have the emerald crab. Don't be misled by the pretty-sounding name or its glossy green color. This crab is stuffed full of noxious toxins just like the others. Found in the warm tropical Caribbean Sea, the emerald crab, or Mithriculus sculptus, to give this creature its Latin name, can be found stuffing itself with algae and scavenging on the usual seabed trash. It is an extraordinary cool alien green color, but don't even think about tasting this little crustacean. It is crammed full of the same deadly blend of neurotoxins as some of our old friends from the death crab gang. If you can restrain yourself from gnawing on one of these beasts. However, keeping one in your aquarium is like having an always-on-duty garbage collection service. Just saying. Number 11. Brown crab. Cancer pagurus. The brown crab stalks the seafloor all around the British Isles, keeping the Brits on their toes when they brave a paddle at the seaside. This creepy crustacean is the biggest species of crab in Europe, usually measuring about 20 centimeters. But beware. Some can even grow to a monstrous 30 centimeters across and weigh up to $9. As much as a baby, the brown crab has 8 legs and 2 fearsomely powerful claws with unpleasant pincers, which can crush with up to 4 times more power than a human hand. A whopping 90 pounds per square inch of pulverizing pressure. Avoid a pinch on the ankle from one of these beasts if you can. Ouch! These sneaky crustaceans lie in wait under seaweed or around rocks, ready to ambush other sea creatures including other crabs. Cannibalistic and constantly feeding, the brown crab is seemingly not a picky eater and will eat literally anything at all, snarfing up dead sea creatures and shellfish with gusto. Also known as the edible crab, this species is a popular meal amongst us humans. Perhaps that's why this crustacean fights back. Number 10. Pistol shrimp. This tiny crustacean may not seem especially fearsome, but the pistol shrimp actually packs a powerful punch. Also known as a snapping shrimp, this sea creature has a secret superpower. Look closely and you'll see that its front claws are very different sizes, sometimes growing to be half the size of the shrimp's body. This mutant claw is the key to the pistol shrimp's mighty power. When preparing to strike its prey, the shrimp opens a chamber in the end of its big claw to let some water inside. Then, when it squeezes its claw, the pressure created pushes the water out with crazy force, making bubbles. Doesn't sound too scary, I know. But these bubbles are traveling at about 60 miles per hour, a speed fast enough that they can actually knock out or even kill their prey. Speeding bullet bubbles for sure. As they burst, they make a loud snap noise. So loud that one species of pistol shrimp called, no kidding, Cineliphaeus pink Floydae, makes bubbles that can reach 210 decibels. When you consider that a real gunshot is about 140 to 175 decibels, you get some idea of the insane volume these tiny creatures create. The pistol shrimp skills are so awesome that Netflix's Project Power action movie has a pistol shrimp-inspired superpower in Jamie Foxx's character, giving him the ability to destroy speeding bullets and demolish enemies with a super-strength pulse. I guess being called a shrimp is not really an insult after all. Number 9. Mantis shrimps. A shrimp sounds pretty harmless, doesn't it? Well, perhaps you haven't heard of the mantis shrimp. The crustacean is not like its timid cousins. The mantis shrimp, or stomatopod, is also known as the thumb splitter. Handle this mini monster and be prepared for painful consequences. Growing to between 4–8 inches and living for between 3 to 6 years, these brightly colored creatures hang out in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, enjoying the protection and buffet of snacks available around coral reefs. Mantis shrimp feed on fish, other shrimp, and crabs. Some of their hunting techniques are violent and downright terrifying. Although there are lots of different species of mantis shrimp, they are all known as either smashers or spears. Yikes! Due to their crazy assassination techniques, smashers have a kind of club appendage called a dactyl club that they use to batter and literally smash their prey into bits. This battering ram can smack down with speeds of up to 50 miles an hour, or the velocity of a gunshot. Brutal. Spears have a more pointy appendage with vicious barbs that they use to, you guessed it, spear their prey. Kebab, anyone? They are super well equipped for such a small crustacean, as their extreme power allows them to prey on much larger species. Let's hope they don't figure out how to hunt humans. Number 8. Saw-edged spooner crab. This crustacean has a name with mixed messages. Its saw-edged character might make for uncomfortable spooning, but that's a weird image. Anyway, moving swiftly on from imagining cuddling up to this crab, let's find out some cool facts about the dangerous-sounding saw-edged spooner crab. This creepy crustacean hangs around coral reefs in Asia and Singapore, the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and out towards Papua New Guinea and New Caledonia in Oceania. It's not the biggest crab, measuring only about 15 centimeters. But its spiny, lumpy, spiky appearance certainly makes it look more menacing than most. The saw-edged part of its name comes from the teeth, which run all along this sea creature's legs and claws. I don't know about you, but it sounds like it would definitely be uncomfortable to accidentally step on one of these crusty crustaceans. That sharp, spiny exterior then adds insult to injury as the insides of the saw-edged spooner crab are poisonous to humans. Perhaps one of the biggest dangers that this crab poses is that it looks a bit like other distinctly more edible crabs. Confusion being the biggest killer in this dangerous world of deadly toxic sea monsters posing as harmless tasty seafood. So keep your wits about you, especially when hanging around with these sharp and pointy crustaceans. If they don't saw you to death with their edges, they might just get you with their lethal insides. These creatures should have a warning label. Number 7. Chinese mitten crab. The furry clawed appearance of the Chinese mitten crab is creepy, if a little comical. Mittens. Not the scariest attire really, but don't be fooled. These invasive crustaceans are certainly up to no good and, that's why they are here amongst the 15 most dangerous crustaceans in the world. Native to China and the area around Japan and Korea, the hairy clawed creepers have found their way across the globe. Either produced on purpose to farm for food, or oftentimes they have stowed away in ships' ballasts and emigrated abroad. But why is this a problem? Well, they like to hang around in massive groups and all burrow together into riverbanks, wrecking the places they go. Their burrowing has even caused levees to break. That is some dangerous digging. And as if that weren't troublesome enough, the oriental lung fluke loves to hang out inside the Chinese mitten crab, just waiting for an unwitting human to come along and eat undercooked crab so it can invade. And yes, it is as disgusting as it sounds. A flatworm that hatches and lives in your lungs. Terrifying. Number 6. Mud crabs. Found in mangroves, swamps, creeks, and estuaries throughout Australia, Asia, and Africa. Africa, the mud crab or Scylla serrata, is a crab hunted and farmed for food. These crabs are sought by fishermen and food lovers everywhere, but seeking them out is not without its dangers. Wading through mud flats and mangroves teeming with crabs, and maybe other predators, mind the crocodiles, is risky in itself. Mud crabs bury themselves just below the surface of the mud, settling comfortably and definitely not friendly to intruders. The mud or shallow water makes it difficult to spot these crustaceans, so watch your step. A threatened mud crab with gigantic claws and incredibly sharp pincers can really do some damage to a wrongly placed ankle. If the crab does catch hold of you, there's a very real possibility that it may never let go. Literally. A mud crab can lock its big claw and even continue to hold on tight after it has detached its own claw to escape a predator. As it can grow a new claw, this is a nifty way to scarper, leaving its would-be predator in a painful predicament and sporting a new crab claw accessory. Number 5. Japanese spider crab. Much of the fear of these particular crustaceans comes from the sheer size of them. The largest crabs in the world, Japanese spider crabs, have 10 legs that can span as much as 12.5 feet and weigh almost 20 kilos. Big enough to consume a human child. But before you panic, let's find out a little bit more about these freaky underwater spider monsters. It wouldn't be fair to judge them only on their appearance. Masters of camouflage, Japanese spider crabs live at depths of 150 to 200 meters, where they use the things in their surroundings to cover their shells and blend into their environment, becoming almost invisible to predators, which may account for how they can live for 100 years, with some surviving even longer than that. But these oversized are more likely to be hunted by octopus or stingray than be much of a threat themselves. They're scavengers and generally find their food in the leftovers and decaying debris of animals and plants on the bottom of the ocean. There are plenty of legends around these creatures though, and as much as they might not kill a human to feed, they have no problem gorging on any dead bodies that may find their way to the ocean floor. I guess this macabre idea is enough to give them a bit of a reputation amongst old-timey salty sea dogs. The Japanese spider crab is really only minding its own business, just being a crab. Let's stop judging these beasts. They clean up a lot of gross dead stuff after all. Number 4. Floral egg crab, going by the name floral egg crab, shawl crab, or its Latin title, Ataragates floridus. This small mud crab is found mostly in Southeast Asia and down towards Australia. These small, smooth-shelled crustaceans with pretty markings may look harmless, but they are harboring a dangerous secret. If you have heard of pufferfish, then you know that those funny-looking sea dwellers are deceptively lethal. A pufferfish is famous for containing the deadly substance tetrodotoxin, which is 1,200 times more dangerous than cyanide. What does this have to do with the little crab that looks like it is wearing Granny's shawl? Well, that very same murderous poison is contained within this innocent-looking creature's legs. In other words, eat this crab and you're done for. So as it hits number 8 on our list, you can't say you've not been warned. Never eat a pufferfish or lick a toad, or as it goes, munch on the legs of a floral egg crab. Number 3. Curry puff crab. Sounds like a delicious Indian snack. Think again. The curry puff crab, or Platypodia granulosa, not only looks like our old nemesis the floral egg crab, it shares some of its deadliness with it too. Another of Singapore's insane death club crabs. This crab gets its name from its resemblance to a curry puff. But that's where the similarities stop. While it is true that this brown-shelled crustacean is not venomous, so it can't literally bite you and do you in, it is poisonous. They are especially talented at camouflage. So if you were at all likely to be allergic, and it's a tricky judgment at the best of times, not being particularly likely to encounter one of these creatures in a safe environment, to check allergies, then it is not recommended that you even touch one of these crabs. So as long as you keep your cool and don't muddle this crab up with its namesake, you'll probably survive. Unless you choke on your curry pup, that is. At number 2, mosaic reef crab. Now, we are getting to the pointy end of this list. Expect some terrifying crustaceans you never knew existed. Next up, Singapore's most poisonous crab. Who even knew there were poisonous crabs, let alone a selection of them in Singapore alone? This toxic terror lives amongst coral reefs and along the shores of Singapore, China, Indonesia, Japan, Thailand, Australia, Vietnam, and French Polynesia. It is a bold orangey-red color and has a distinctive speckled the super. The super scary thing about this particular crab is not its pinch or its size, or even the stink eye it will give you. No, this crab is all about the deadly poison, one of the most toxic species of crab on the whole planet. I'd give this one a wide berth if I were you. Many deaths have been documented that state this crab as cause of death. It contains such deadly neurotoxins that cooking this crab won't destroy the toxins. This crab must be one badass creature though, as it seems to gain its own poison stores from its favorite snack, poisonous sea cucumbers. Delicious. I'll have a portion on the side, please. Seriously though, it will actually kill you. Number 1. Coconut crabs. Palm thief. If you find yourself on an island in the Asia-Pacific region and encounter a giant crab who seems friendly and wants to shake your hand, beware. A squeeze from a coconut crab claw can crush your fingers with 10 times more strength than a human hand. With the most intense claw strength of any crustacean on the planet, this mighty beast puts the crushing powers of other crabs in the shade. This mutant can lift up to 28 kilos, as much as a small child. Kids and pets, watch out. You don't want a hug from a coconut crab. It can crack open a coconut so your squishy mitts will be no match. Don't worry too much though. The monstrous size of this sea creature makes it hard to miss. At a mighty 4 kilos, with a length of 40 centimeters and legs spanning almost a meter, the coconut crab won't be hiding behind your bucket and spade.